Everybody, welcome back. Another episode of Indy Reporter with your host, me, the current face, the current voice of Indy Reporter, Steve Whitmer. That is until I can finally find my replacement, maybe one day soon. All right, so didn't have a show yesterday, obviously, but had to. So this is what we're going to do. We're going to talk about Tuesday and Wednesday, and then tomorrow's show, I'm going to talk about today, because there's a lot of action that happened today. All right, so on Tuesday, the had a bunch of committee meetings, a bunch of bills were talked about. So let's talk about an HB 1001, which is supposed to be the housing affordability bill. And what bill is basically going to do, it's going to reduce regulations all across the board, whether it be for wheelchairs, for how many stairs you're going to have, also parking. Now, Blake Johnson, Democrat state rep, crybaby Blake Johnson, he was questioning, he actually had a good question. It's like, with this bill, would you be able to have cheaper materials being used? I'm like, good point. And they were all saying no. Well, what was interesting is that there were only a few people that were bringing up in the bill that it doesn't mandate more parking. So in my mind, I'm thinking to myself, well, I've lived in a lot of apartments, and if there's like one thing, like COVID during the toilet paper, if there's one thing that you're always going to want in an apartment complex is parking. Either a parking spot for designated, or just, hey, I want to be able to park close to my unit. And someone was pointing out that it's like, hey, if you don't have any parking, everybody's going to be using the side streets or the alleyways for where they need to park. That means emergency vehicles won't be able to get through. That means trash pickup won't be able to get through. Mailmen and women won't be able to get through. So whenever we talk about parking, that's a pretty big deal. I was comparing this bill to the 15-minute city bill, because a lot of the arguments that are happening right now are, hey, you know what? Rent is going up compared to what was back in 2019. There are a few reasons for that. The number one is immigration. However, there wasn't someone, I forgot what his name was, Sean from like Social Justice Warrior, he was pointing out about Austin. And in Austin, they deregulated a lot of things, and they were able to get rent down because more stock equals less money. Well, what they didn't tell you is that you're actually getting less for your money. So compared to 2019, say you were paying $1,000 for a 1,000 square foot apartment. Now in 2025, 2026, you are paying about close to that again, but you're only getting like 900 square feet. You're getting more, you're getting less, but paying the same price back to 5 years ago. You know how you solve this whole thing? You deport a whole lot of people. Special power in the chat. Let's go. My biggest fan. All right, so there's a lot of talk on it. I forgot. I watched most of it. This bill was by far the most frustrating bill this year, because you have all these people that live in homes that are in their ivory towers, basically, and they're telling the plebs, hey, we're not even going to allow you to park where you live anymore. We're going to, and one of the arguments, too, I forgot who said it, it was like, all right, well, we like to be able to have good-looking things. You think about 100 years ago, how beautiful everything used to go. Polly in the chat, let's go. Of a character, of architecture, beauty, and now what does it look like? Soviet-style, depressing square boxes. You know what's not depressing? Well, my favorite three people are in the chat. Special power, Polly, and Ducky. Massive W. We are so back on a Thursday night. Make sure you tune in for tomorrow, too. So that's going to be a big thing right now. Once it goes to the floor, I think it got moved to where did it get moved to? Actually, now that I'm thinking about it, where did it go? There's amendment, second reading. Oh, okay. So there was a second reading to it. So it's on the floor. We'll see what happens. I do not like this bill whatsoever. All right. So there are a couple of things that I didn't follow, mostly because it was a loaded docket. So I'm just going to talk about the things that I was following on the, that's right, I was going to go back and watch this. There was an insurance mandated gun-free zone. I thought this bill was hilarious. Provides that an insurer may not require an insured or prospective insured to post and display gun-free zone notice. Dude, you know how bad it would be? The criminals would love to know that they're in a gun-free zone, because you know what criminals do? They don't follow the law. They do crime. I'm going to go back and listen to this, but That passed out of committee. Legislation. All right, so hold on. Yes, perfect. HB 1002, this is another priority bill for the electric utility affordability. Now, this is how Braun and company are going to try and lower utility prices. This is what was interesting. I do not like this bill at all. And the number one reason why is because it forced me to get into a budget billing. I think there were a few amendments that might have been taken out. Drew in the chat, let's go. I think that might have gotten taken out because Ray Burton, I forgot what his name is. I think he's from Evansville. He was bringing that up about budget billing. I don't want to be forced to go into budget billing. All right. If you want to offer it, that's fine. But if you're going to force me to get into it, and then I have to opt out, I have to spend time and money to get out, I don't think so. So there are two other things that I wanted to talk about in that bill. We have a new phrase that Ed Soliday is using now, and that is called peer-reviewed study. He used it, let me see, 7 times during this, and he was asking people that were giving testimonies like, well, do you have a peer-reviewed study? And it's like, oh, that's the new op. Okay. He has ran out of all his usual things to say, so now he's saying a peer-reviewed study. Listen, you know who does all these reviews? People who pay for them. And who's going to pay for them? The people that want to set a narrative. If we learned anything in the last 5 years, it's that peer-reviewed studies are probably going to be compromised. Just like Soliday. But this is basically how Soliday is everybody's going to win over the data centers.
So what the amendment does first is take out all of the OEO language out of the bill. That is not there anymore. In its place is language, and we've had discussions. They don't agree to these things.
Let me boost up the volume.
Say that's interesting, and I've had discussions with the counties and the cities. And what it says is that a data center that gets an approved permit from a local government entity will receive 1% of the benefits they receive from the sales tax exemption.
Hear that? You hear that? The 1%? The local area or the area is going to get the 1% of the sales tax exemption?
Now, that may sound like a little number, but of that $7 billion project in Hammond, and this is not retroactive, but going forward, the electronics are $5 billion. They change every 3 to 5 years, which means that sales tax benefit would continue. So it requires them, after everything is done and they have siting, then they shall give to the local government 1% of their sales tax savings.
I will be very curious of how that whole thing works out, because are they doing it while they buy it? Are they doing it every year? Are they waiting until what he said when they're all done and operational? Because that could take 4 or 5 years. And are they doing it in one large lump sum? Who's going to prove? Oh, and by the way, how are they going to prove that's how much money they spent? Because that was the big argument right now. I think it was back in 2019. Data centers were allowed to take all these tax incentives, property tax, sales tax, even the tax the sales tax that they would pay in electricity. They don't have to pay. But then they're like, oh, well, 1% of the sales tax that of the savings they would get will go into the area. Well, how are they even going to be able to track that? That's what I want to know. So I'm going to be clipping that, and I'll put it up on Facebook, on Twitter after the show. But this is how they're going to be able to sell all of this, because we're going to say maybe we should do a pilot. I think there's a pay in lieu of taxes, whatever it is. And they say, we'll give you money. It's like back with the Franklin Township data center. They're going to give Franklin Township School Corporation some money. And that's how they were able to switch everything over. Everybody's opinion over is like, oh, well, you know what? We're going to get more money. Hey, think of SB1. That's kind of the argument right now about SB1 is that, hey, all these areas are not going to be able to see as much money because all these areas don't know how to spend their money properly. So Instead, we'll have these data centers come in there and somehow they'll raise the AV, and then that will automatically get you more money. Not, hey, well, maybe, hey, what about the electric generation, though? How are you guys going to figure that one out? All right. Oh, also, this new one that Soliday keeps talking about, and I noticed this when I went to the IMA event last year, was, hey, well, data centers have been around since 1952. And it's so funny, or like in the 1950s. And I was like, okay, but how much energy did they consume back then compared to what they're consuming now? Let me ask you, Erd Soliday, were those data centers consuming as much energy as now, as in the amount of energy that 2/3 of the homes in Indiana would consume, or no? Or were they just using it for some data collection, maybe some payroll and bookkeeping? Not, hey, we're going to track every movement for you. And what he said during this testimony too, or during the meeting, he was like, well, you know what consumes a lot of energy? Video games and streaming and data storage. It's like, well, we've had data storage for a long time. We've had streaming for a while now. We've had video games, online video games for a long time now, and we've never really needed these data centers until now. So that argument cannot be used anymore. Just say what it's for. Hey, we're going to be having more security state. We're going to be tracking your movement with all these cameras everywhere. That has nothing to do with all the things that we've been doing for at least the last decade and a half, even 2 decades for the most part. You talk about streaming, you talk about video games, you talk about storage. If it's all about storage, then charge people for it. I have one person, I think Soliday or somebody's are like, well, I have like 7,000 pictures. Well, first off, a picture file doesn't require that much storage on it. Like I had like 10,000 emails. Does that mean we need to have a data center? And I cleared them all out. So yeah, I know it says HB 13. Oh, I think they were switching to HB 1333, but I think they were on the wrong bill at that point because I was trying to find it. All right, so moving on from there, let's see. Bam, bam. Let's see. They talked about carbon, and I think it was just about changing the language on something. Is that what it was? Yeah, there wasn't I think it was just lining up with federal stuff. Didn't really pay attention to this one. But HB 1333, that's the most important one. Oh, maybe it was. Because 1333 reminded me of 1002. But anyway, HB 1333, this is the big one. This is basically saying, hey, data centers are about to move forward with limited local control. If a tech company wants to build a data center in your neighborhood, this bill makes it much easier. Locals can comment, but they no longer control the outcome. Oh, and also, the IADC gains additional authority to approve and incentivize these projects. The local governments cannot block these projects or impose permit conditions that conflict with the IADC-backed incentives. Yeah, so basically, local control, say goodbye, not happening. Data centers, full throttle ahead. It's totally over, boys and girls. Yeah, where's eminent domain? Yeah, that's basically what it was. Data centers have a 50-year eternal loan and asset that develops in 5 years. Yeah, well, that was the other thing, too. There, Ed Soliday was talking. I was like, all these equipment, they have to get new stuff every 7 to 8 years or something like that. It's like, so they're going to be spending even more on it. This is what I'd like to know, though. Like, were they buy the equipment for it? Does that matter? Or is it like a full sales tax no matter what? Like, does it matter if you buy it in Indiana or in a different country? That's what I'm curious on. Do you have to pay extra on the tariffs? Yeah, you're going to pay extra tax on the tariffs. Let's see. Power and duties. Nope. Partnership. Where else did they have it? Yeah. Township mergers. There's another township bill that was talked about today. I have to pay attention. I have to go back and watch this. All right, so grooming bill got through committee. Criminal vandalism, which was kind of weird. The firing squad bill, I think, is dead. I don't think it's coming out of committee. The Law Enforcement Civilian Oversight Board. Now, that one was interesting because this was where Rick Snyder Josh Bain and Michael Paul Hart, they all spoke on it. And what happened was last year there was a proposal, last summer there was a proposal to make the General Orders Board a more of an advisory board than, or an advisory board than like a policy board, like, or you have to do it. I forgot what the word he actually said. But and what Josh Bain was pointing out is like, hey, we have these people that were appointed by the city council, but they never show up. There's like no quorum. So do you remember last year during the summer when we had all that cray-cray happening in downtown, and then there was an emergency that was declared? Well, they tried to extend it, but since the people were not showing up to the board meetings, they didn't have quorum, so they could approve the extension of it. So what their plan was is like, hey, let's just make this board an advisory role. There's not like an actual policy role on there. And Chief Bailey actually said that this would help with the morale of the IMPD. And so you know what they did? They denied it. So they ended up going to Carrasco and Freeman, I think, definitely Carrasco. And they said, hey, we're going to have to get the state involved with this thing. We're going to have to make this board an advisory role because they are hampering what we're trying to do. And even Bailey said, I think even Rick Snyder might have mentioned it, as like, this would help out with the morale of IMPD. All right, so this counteraction against unmanned aircraft system, very fascinating bill, because there's all this drones that are being talked about right now, especially now that Indiana is going to be having like massive amounts of money on drone technology and testing. So this bill was about, oh man, I want to make sure I get this right. Yeah, that the state police is statewide coordinating agency for the U.S. activities. It provides that the bills, it lines up with federal law and provides that the bill's provisions apply if a federal law is enacted and authorizes state or local enforcement after the governor publishes a notice in the Indiana Register. The bill provides that the state police department may designate a law enforcement agency of a political subdivision as a participating agency. I think this also had to do where like they're not going to be shooting them down, but there's some kind of like jammed signal that they can use. I don't know. We'll see what happens with this one. I know it came out of committee okay, right? Yeah, and I don't know. This intelligent speed one, I mean, I'm surprised. I think they were just talking about it because they knew that there was going to be a fiscal involved, or like, we're just going to get the ball rolling this year. There are actually a lot of bills that happen that way. We're going to get the ball rolling this year, and then we're going to talk about it majorly next year because it'll be a budget year. All right, got that. 1333, yes, got that. All right. And that day, this House and the Senate met. Let's see. The expungement bill sucked, but that was going to go on thirds. I think what I'm going to do is that I'm just going to talk about the bills that were on that. On my screen. Huh. On that screen, but it's not on that screen. Very weird. Huh? The line, yeah. Is that for everything? Yeah, there's actually something on there. I don't know what it is, though. Oh, let's see what it is. There we go. Fixed it. All right. So the House and the Senate met on Tuesday. Let's just talk about the bills that got passed in the third reading. Various judicial matters. I just want to talk about the drama bill. So 1150, which was local regulation. This one is so funny because basically what this bill would do is says, hey, HOA, you are not allowed to force the people to only have one type of like fuel source for a lawnmower or a weed whacker, because you saw in California where like you're not allowed to have gas powered lawnmowers anymore. They all have to be electric. This bill would make sure that the HOA cannot enforce the whole thing. And of course, Democrats, I'm going to go back and listen to this tonight. I want to see what kind of teething they were due. I think I was following the Senate and the House at the same time. Local government matters. There we go. And regulation of stablecoin. We talked about this like a week or so ago with cryptocurrency. Really, oh man, there are a few interesting people that said no on this. Obviously, based Andrew Ireland, he voted against it, including with the requirements for proxy advisor. I have no idea what this bill is about. From what I was listening to for a little bit, this was like a really in the weeds bill. I want to know who voted no against it, though. Oh, Ireland voted against it too. I wonder what the bill. Okay, Ireland's voting against it. What is it about? Various dental matters. Amends the educational requirement for dental hygienists. Amends the requirement for administration and nitrous oxide. Wait, what the crap? The bill amends the education requirements for a dental hygienist. The bill amends the requirements for administration of nitric oxide by a dental hygienist. The bill allows the state of dentistry to establish additional requirements for an applicant who has failed a license, respiratory care. The bill amends the licensure and temporary permit requirements for respiratory. Yeah, you know, I don't like this bill. Is it because we don't have enough dentists or something? But then it says, oh, we're going to amend the education requirement for dental hygienists. All right, I might have to go back and watch this bill. I know some, like the libertarians are probably going to like this bill. It's like, hey, why do we have a license on it? Well, I'll tell you what, when you're using nitrous oxide, I don't want the minimum requirement to be lowered. Hey, you know, when I have people in my mouth shoving things in there, whatever tool is, I feel like the educational requirement is needed. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of this. We're going to have a bunch of morons that don't know what they're doing rolling into my mouth. I'm going to put this on. I have to go back and watch it. Based Ireland. Common W Ireland. All right, so local regulation. Okay, then the Senate met. All right, grandparent visitation, E-Verify. This E-Verify bill, there was an amendment from what I was told, and it basically killed the bill. Like, it lost all its teeth on it. Cancellation of caucus meeting, that one was easy. The tip pooling. So basically, like, when you had, they got, I think it passed today. Yeah, let's just talk about thirds, okay? Let's just talk about thirds. Now, their SJR 1, that bill would basically have a constitutional amendment. By the way, you're going to be voting on all of this November. SJR 1 would change a portion of the Indiana Constitution. And what part am I talking about? The part that primarily concerns bail. I want to make sure I got this right. Yes. So right now, the only reason why you would not be allowed bail is for murder and treason. And this bill would change that, where you could be held without bail for other reasons. Now, the conspirator bros will tell you, and the Democrats will tell you, it's like, oh, what do you mean? That means you can be held without bail for a misdemeanor. That is correct, by the way. Also, the same thing for rape. So, I'm just saying, in Marion County, do you think a judge is going to hold somebody without bail because of jaywalking or petty theft? No, it's the Wild West out here, my man. There's no way that's going to happen. They like putting out low bail in Marion County. The judges, the magistrates, remember, that guy that broke into that 19-year-old's apartment, stabbed her 61 times, raped her, and then her dad found her naked, bloody body in the apartment. Brian Mayers gave him a plea deal. Really? Do you think we're going to have that problem in Marion County? Dude, it's a mess over here. What are we even talking about? So yeah, that's that bill. And then SB 2 kind of lines up the language of it. Of course, you know, what else is new? So also the prohibition of ranked choice voting. This one was a very interesting conversation because Andrea Hundley was like, I don't know much about ranked choice voting. What we should do is have a summer study so we can talk about it. Why would you get rid of something that we don't even do in Indiana and then would stop it? The only thing that I do not like about this bill is that the ranked choice voting is gone at the convention. If you have 3 people running for a spot at the convention, it's winner takes all. I don't know if I like that very much because, you know, obviously you will not have Dan Elliott. Now that we have Jamie Rittenhauer running for Secretary of State, allegedly, that means Diego's probably going to win the convention, unless we can get more base people to to vote for Shelton. What was really funny is that Andrea Hunley was like, "We learned how to play euchre for goodness sake," as like about whether Nikki Callie was watching at the same time. I'm sure she chuckled just as much as I did when she was talking about how complicated ranked choice voting is and euchre is. Well, yeah, well, ranked choice voting is just dumb. All right. If you want to play the rule, there was an election they were talking about that took 2 weeks to get done because of ranked choice voting. Why would you want to do that? We already have lazy voters now. Why would you want to why would you force these people to go out and vote again? Just one and done. That's all you need. Dad did it. It worked. So wireless communication device. A lot of talk on this one. It passed. It's going over to the House now. Let's see. Redaction of children's names in court records. And then there was really no sale of telecommunication equipment. That was talked about today. So we'll talk about that tomorrow. It's actually a funny bill because it has to do with people stealing copper and other things. Do you remember like a year or two ago when there was a bill that if you're going to get rid of a cat for the recycling, you have to have the VIN on it because we were having so many cat converter thefts? Not cats like meow, but like cat converters, catalytic converters, or some say Cadillac converters. Then you had to get a VIN that was on it. So if they checked the VIN and then it was reported that their cat converter had gotten cut off, they would get in trouble. Or even if they were the junkyard and they accepted it, they would get in trouble. Kind of the same thing here, but for telecommunication network equipment and copper. I don't know how they're going to be able to pull that one off. All right, so what happened today? I don't even know anything. HB 1004 is a massive education bill. Let me show you. No, that's not even it. Let me show you the latest version. It is 181 pages. And I'm not going to read through any of it. I tried listening to it during committee. I have figured out that I am only good for bills that are maybe 10 pages. Anything past that, not going to be good. However, the Indianapolis Public Education Corporation, that was a really good listening. We talked about this like a week or so ago with Ilea so basically what this would do is that it would allow public schools to become charter schools. It'll be shared revenue. The corporation, which would be basically IPS and the charter schools, they would figure out how to dilly up the money. Transportation will be figured out between the charter and the public schools. Because what I've been told is that IPS was basically done. Like they had no money. The amount of money that they were spending, they were just burning through it constantly. Very piss poor management is what I was told. Like they were about to shut doors because of how bad it was getting. Also, more kids were going over the charter schools and private schools. However you feel about charter schools or private schools means nothing to me. I'm just giving you guys the information. Let's see. Use of SNAP benefits. All right, this is my favorite one. This was by far one of the funniest things. So who was it? Ryan Lauer. He had a bill for the use of SNAP benefits to, let's see, because remember, SNAP stands for Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program. And what this bill would do is that it would take away cookies, candy, ice cream, cakes, and pies. However, it would allow SNAP recipients to purchase hot prepared chicken that is not fried or breaded using SNAP benefits. So rotisserie chicken, grilled chicken, that is all out. And by the way, in this committee, he said like they never allowed that before. SNAP was not allowed to even get any of that. Now it is brought in there because we want to have warm, tasty food. Also, energy drinks, sweetened beverages, soft drinks, corn or potato chips is on this bill that no longer will be able to be purchased with SNAP. I thought it was funny. However, the funniest part out of all of this is Representative Burton. Let me play the clip.
Going through this bill, and I understand the administration's approach to getting healthier food to families who are using SNAP benefit. However, was beef, turkey, and pork left out intentionally?
All that is currently allowed under the current SNAP and will continue to be, absolutely. I work with the administration, and other states have added rotisserie chicken because under current SNAP benefits, hot foods are not allowed. And so the hot chicken and the rotisserie in the grocery is currently not allowed under SNAP. So this bill actually adds a new product for SNAP beneficiaries to take advantage of. So this is the hot chicken because it's so good.
Yeah, but I don't want to be discriminatory towards one chicken cooked over another way, but it's showing that fried chicken is not allowed. Could you expound upon that for a little bit?
So he's like, so Representative Burton is mad that fried chicken is not being allowed. Only rotisserie and grilled chicken, not fried chicken, not breaded chicken. But that sweet rotisserie chicken is allowed. That was really funny. I'm not going to lie. And it just got kind of awkward and he kept rambling on about it for like 2 minutes. That will be clipped and that will even put on tonight or tomorrow. All right. So moving on from there. From yesterday, there was the House and the Senate did not meet yesterday. So we're just going to talk the bills in committee. All right. Was this 1064? Yeah. This bill was fascinating. This 1064 for unmanned aerial vehicles. So there were 3 people, I think it was Culp that introduced it. He talked about it. Then there were 2 other farmers that talked about how there was drones on like hovering over their farmland. And not only that, it's so true, Ducky. You know what, Ducky? You're not the only one that told me that. That made the same comment. So what these farmers were talking about was these drones that were overhead near on their farmland and also near their chicken barns. And they saw them spray something into the barn. And they ended up having and coincidentally, all those birds got bird flu. Do you remember last year, even probably now, where like a whole bunch of birds got bird flu? This is around that time, and nobody ever talked about it except these farmers. Now, of course, I don't know if it was true or not. I'm just telling you what happened there in committee, and we talked about it too. We brought it up. So there were consistent, and I, posted the interviews too earlier today. There were alleging incidents in which drones were observed spraying substances over agricultural land inside barns, followed by reported bird flu outbreaks shortly after. Not only that, but then one of them brought up their kids got a really bad respiratory infection for like a week. So I definitely think this needs to be talked about more. All right, so execution methods from our friend of the show, Jim Lucas. He was talking about execution methods. You already know who voted against it. Now, this would authorize the death penalty to be carried out by a firing squad or nitrogen hypoxia. And this would be up to a choice. Also, removes the requirement that an execution be carried out at the Indiana State Prison and before sunrise. It exempts certain persons from being required to participate in execution. They're probably talking about religious background. Makes conforming amendments and technical corrections. Obviously, very good talk about it, just like the other firing squad bill from Mike Young. Not surprised. Very fun stuff, by the way. County commissioner districts from Yoakum. By the county, 3 districts that meet certain requirements. There's a lot of talk right now about getting rid of townships, and it looks like it's probably going to happen. Now, boards and commissions. This was a bill that would basically start combining different boards and commissions into one department. Because right now, there are so many different commissions and boards, and they never meet. I think we have like the Lois and Clark Expedition Commission, too. They're keeping that one. I looked into that one. It's okay. The history behind it is fascinating, too. But you're talking about all these other boards, like the Wine Commission. Oh man, they actually talked about it too. I have like a whole breakdown of all the commissions. It's kind of wild, like how many stupid commissions that we have. But anyway, they're talking about consolidating a lot of them into one department mostly because they never meet. That's a big part of it. And it passed. And a lot of the talk was, if I remember right, it was like the professionals were coming in there and saying how much they didn't like it. Oh well. Oh, well. All right, so not much happened in there. All right, so okay, yes. The gender issues one. Fascinating thing. Basically, what this would do is that it prevent males going into female prisons. And friend of the program, Corinna Cohn, they spoke on the bill. On here, we clipped it earlier yesterday and then posted it this morning. So the SB 182 would basically define sex statewide, what a male is, what a female is, biological sex at birth across all Indiana law. Prisons, no real change. Inmates already housed by biological sex with case-by-case safety reviews under federal rules. So, but it would make sure that everything is being taken care of. Corinna Cohn spoke in it. JD Ford questioned Corinna, which was fascinating to watch too. Corey W. That's all I'm going to say. Watch it. It was really good. Non-participating providers, garnishment, public depositories, and where's... Oh, yeah. The abortion-inducing drugs and abortion reports. Now, interesting bill, because who this would punish the most are the people that are shipping it. Hold on. I had my notes over here. I thought I had my notes here on S. There it is. Now, so... The bill specifically targets anyone who manufactures, distributes, mails, transports, delivers, prescribes, or provides an abortion-inducing drug, not just the doctors. So it's squarely aimed at anyone who provides abortion-inducing drugs, including people who sell, mail, or distribute abortion pills. It creates civil liability and wrongful death exposure for anyone involved in giving pills to a pregnant person. It also allows private individuals, like a parent of the unborn child, to sue or even quid tam lawsuits, which basically let whistleblowers or bounty hunters go after those providers. Now, what was interesting on here is that one of the people that is in the healthcare profession admitted that their coworker ordered an abortion pills to illegally perform an abortion on themselves.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. So did I hear you say that a coworker, someone in the health profession,
Right.
ordered the abortion pill for themselves? So to perform an illegal abortion on themselves?
Yes.
And you're aware of that? You understand
was-
that they're breaking the law?
It was a couple years back, so
Now she's trying to...
yes, I
bring it
was
back.
made aware of it. So I've never worked in abortion care, but, as far as, reproductive care and understanding the...
And tell you what, Liz Brown was on fire. I know that a lot of you guys don't like Liz Brown. I've only really started paying attention to her in the last year, but Liz Brown was on it, going after all these very pro-abortion people, and she was very clear. Indiana is a pro-life state, and that's how we're going to run things. That's what she was telling everybody. So this one was really interesting, too. Go ahead and please play.
One woman that we served after the abortion pill, she took it home, was in shock of what she saw. She placed her baby on the counter only to have her cat jump up on the counter and eat her baby. She not only suffered the first trauma, but then she was faced with a second traumatic event layered on top of the severe psychological stressor. Today, she holds her cat, and that is the memory of her baby.
Yeah, someone actually put on her, was like, does she not feed her cat or what? So yeah, that was an interesting. Those were the ones that I was following. Like I said, I'm gonna go back and watch a couple of other ones, like the dentistry one. I got a feeling, and they're doing this with a lot. They're doing it with nurses. They're doing it with veterinarians, where they're lowering their minimum requirement or bringing ones that are outside of the country as well. It's just been a massive problem, and it has a lot to do with low-paying jobs. That's really what it comes down to. Like, nurses don't make that much. Veterinarians don't make that much. Dentists, I think depending where you are on the dentistry field, you can make a lot of money. So, who knows, though? All right, I'm just here to report what is going on. I think I covered all of that. That's good there. Gender issues right there. Corey, and bam. So, what happened today? A whole lot of cray-cray instead, including what happened during the Senate and the House today. Senate had some fireworks going on there. I cannot wait. Tomorrow's show is going to be a lot of fun. I'm going to look more into this E-Verify bill. Finally, Liz Brown bill showed up. I'm waiting for the video to get archived so I can do a little bit of clipping on there. Second and third reading, obviously, a lot of drama that happened with the relocation of outdoor advertising signs. This always seems to be a thing. I do not know what is it about. This particular bill went on for like an hour, I think, because I had to kill the stream, and then when I got home, I was like, it's still going on. Like, I had to kill the stream so I could take the laptop, and then it was like a half an hour later, and they were still talking about it, and they were talking about it for like 15, 20 minutes before that. So, yeah, the nuclear facility permit one, too, is no bueno, but we'll talk about that more tomorrow. So I did the Tuesday and Wednesday, and don't forget, the campaign reports are out now. I'll probably wait to talk about that until after session is over, which will be end of February, most likely, because got to kill some time between now and the convention and the primary. There's always something to talk about, and there's always money to be spent. Always a lot of drama that is happening here in Indiana, because what else are we going to do, especially in Marion County? So with that being said, let's see, dude, how large was the fetus mouse size? I don't know. That's the thing, because I could have clipped it longer, but I just wanted to get to the high point. They were talking about, it's like, okay, so what about these people that have an abortion and they are told to flush the fetus down the toilet? Like, some people are not going to do that, and so that's why she brought up that one. It's like, aborted the fetus, it was there, took it home, and then was like going to put it in the freezer. Like, this all spells like red flags. There was like a minute of testimony that she was given to, but it was going to be a long, like, 2-minute clip. And since everybody has like no attention span, I just make sure I got to the good part. But basically, she was talking about, it's like, not everybody's going to flush their fetus down the toilet if they have an abortion. So yeah. Hey man, watching these committee videos and watching what happens on the floor of the House and the Senate is just wild. I wish I could clip more stuff, but it would literally be like nothing but a giant clip channel from Indy Reporter. So I'm trying to make sure that all the good stuff is on there and try to explain it, because you'll have like 2-hour testimonies, an hour and a half testimonies, and there'll be some like wacky people on there. It's like, well, I can't show an hour and a half of testimony. No one's going to watch all that. So I'm just going to have the high points of it. This is what I do, though. This is a nice little hobby. You guys get some more informed. Also, like, I've been noticing more and more that none of the pundits are talking about any of this stuff or clipping any of it or showing any of it. That's what makes Indy Reporter so unique. If you do like the uniqueness, don't make sure you hit the like button. Also, need to get the algo going. So with tomorrow at 8 o'clock, don't forget. Until then, you guys have a good night. Love you guys. Bye.